Hi there, MTSU friends. Welcome back. We're going to get right back into some Canvas training. And in this foundational session, I want to show you what Canvas pages are and what they could be used for. And I want to use that as a springboard to show you how to enter content, academic content, weekly content, agenda content, into Pages via a suite of tools called the Rich Content Editor. And you'd be using the Rich Content Editor to put content not only into Pages, but also into assignment directions, discussion prompts, quiz questions, announcements, because the Rich Content Editor is ubiquitous. It is everywhere inside of Canvas. So this session serves multiple purposes. So if you'd like to follow along, go ahead and log into MTSU's Canvas instance. Thank you there, Jimmy. And we'll go ahead and just get right into Pages. Um, I find oftentimes pages can mean different things in different environments. So let me walk you first through what does Canvas consider to be a page and what's it for. What you're looking at here is what we call the front page of a Canvas course inside a course. A front page serves multiple purposes for students. It serves as a welcome mat to the course. So for my Calculus 101 course, this is a welcome to calculus with a short description, contact information, and here are some great navigation buttons that if clicked, a student could click on that button and find the course schedule or instructor information. So a page can be a navigational and welcome tool. Here's another use case for Canvas pages. So right here I have another page, which is part of a module in Canvas. The concept is similar in D2L, but in this module page, which is the first page of the unit, I'm letting students know an overview of what they're going to learn, the objectives of the unit, and I've even placed here a to-do list so that when they select on links, they can go straight to that assignment or that discussion. So a page can also serve as an informational tool to let students know what they're about to learn or what they've just learned, because you can make such a page to end a module. Finally, you can use a page just to push content out, right? This is what we are learning. Here is all the facts. And for this particular math class, I'm using this particular page to talk about this concept in calculus. And I've used mostly text for this, but just to show you, because this is just a bare bones example, you don't have to have just text, although that is the most accessible way to get content forth to students. This is actually a great example of the fact that you can have math and science symbols inside of Canvas. You can also add videos here, links to websites, links to documents from your SharePoint or your Google Drive. So a page can be informational in the context of, here's what we're learning. This is the content that we expect you, or that I will expect you to master and that you may be tested on. So overall, think of a Canvas page as a one-way informational vehicle. The information on the page is up to you, but it is a way for you to inform students of a concept, a set of concepts, or just organizational information. That's what Canvas calls a page. And as you can tell, it's pretty foundational to get your course and its content out to students. Now, I would want for you to start with something to fill in. It is possible to create a page entirely from scratch, but I want to make this easy for you. And so I want to highlight here as I do so, MTSU has placed amazing resources like this homepage where you can edit the content, where you don't even have to make these buttons, where all you can do or all you have to do is just fill in your course specific or your personal information. So I want to show you first how you can get content like this so that we can learn to customize it. So inside of Canvas, when you get here on your dashboard, you're going to locate the course shell where you're going to have the content. And for me, that's my dev shell. I'm going to remember that I need the content inside the dev shell. And then I'm going to go to a place called the Commons. The Commons is a location where you can pick up pre-made resources for you to edit. My dev shell is empty, but I want to fill it with some content that I can edit and make my own. So inside this course template, I can look and see, oh, I can edit this content, right? I can even start creating my first unit using this package. So what I would suggest you do is to make use of that hard work, right? So once you're inside of Commons, you're going to look for the Canvas course template. And then once inside, you're going to choose Import Download. And now pick the specific class where you want it to go. I would not recommend you choose all. If you choose all, literally every single course gets the content. And that adds to content that's already there, so that takes up space, but this is empty. So I'm going to use this dev shell, and then I'm just going to import it into my course. So once I have this green banner showing up here, I'm just going to go back into my dev shell, which I'll do just by clicking on dev shell. And I'm going to want to give it a couple of minutes because it is basically an entire course that will be populated here. And eventually we should get a copy of all of that content placed inside of that dev shell once the import process is completed. There we go. All right, so we have all of those learning folders, those modules, with course content inside of them. But let's start our journey with pages with the home page. And you don't see a home page here, right? So let's go ahead and look for it. The home page can be found in the Pages index. So when you select on, you see this long list of links here, click on Pages. Ah, there it is right there, because it just popped up. If you see this home page, this is where your home page lives. So from here, you can click on Edit. And then you can start to edit the home page. And this is where we're going to start with our understanding of how to use this toolkit called the Rich Content Editor. Remember, our home page is that welcome space for students, right? So we're going to go ahead and start by, if you wish, you can go ahead and title the home page something differently. Something that you'll remember. Scroll on down just a little bit here and you see the beautiful MTSU banner, as well as some menus and some buttons to click. And if you take a look at some of these buttons, it may remind you of Google Docs, Word, because it's drawn from those word processing programs. So I think we can figure out, for example, what B, I, and then that U mean. The banner here is an example of a course image, which represents your course. So students know right away, hey, I'm in an MTSU course. And then moving on down here in this window starts the content that you can edit. So for a starter, where it says place your course title here, you can just hit backspace or delete and then type in something that's more personal to you. And right here where it says welcome, I see here an instructor note and I see some fake Latin. Please go ahead and delete that fake Latin as well as the instructor note. And in that space is where you can add your personal content. And while I just sat there and typed all of that out, you could absolutely copy and paste from your syllabus or another document that you have on your second screen. As a matter of fact, all of your cut, copy, and edit shortcuts live here under the edit menu. So just to reassure you, right, you can cut, copy, and paste from between different pages in your course. And I'm on a Mac, so that's why you see these Mac symbols, but you can do Control or Command X, C, or V like you do in Word. Now, as you start to enter content and words on your home page, you might be interested in doing a little bit of formatting. So, for instance, the text that you enter in the rich content editor is in 12-point font, but you can change that size. 12-point is the minimum, but you could, for example, make it 14-point. You can also add, say, additional sections. So for example, maybe you want to have a different section that says instructor information underneath the welcome section. In which case, we're going to make use of this drop down here under paragraph to create a new heading. And then you could place your instructor information underneath that. So that's where you can set up those headings. I would choose heading 2. If you want to do further formatting, you have here bold, italics, and underline. So for example, I'll go ahead and underline calculus, or there's underlining calculus. You can also bold it. You can also stack formatting on top of each other like so. You can also modify the color of the letters. Now, frankly, this is a frill. If you don't want to change the color, you really don't have to. And as a matter of fact, for accessibility, I would recommend you just keep it black. If you do need to add emphasis, you might want to choose, say, a dark color, if not black, because that's maximum contrast against the white background. Or you can even do highlighting. That's this marker tool here. Again, you want to think about contrast. So have a light highlight color against the dark letters, and that makes that particular word really pop here. And then right here, this T² symbol, what it looks like to be a T² symbol, is where you can make text superscript or subscript. Now, these are what I'd call the most frequently used formatting options. There are additional options under the format menu here, where you have the same functions you saw just now, plus additional options like, for example, you could modify the font. You could modify the alignment if needed, just to show you, you have center, right, and justify options. But all of that is options only. If you want to keep it simple, I like to just type in the text here. And then maybe if you'd like to make use of, say, bulleted or numbered lists, that function is right here. So just to show you, numbered lists are there. So if I want to make a little section on instructor information, I can make a bulleted list that says my name, my office, right? My office phone number, and then email. So far I've got a homepage that I think speaks a little bit more for me rather than the generic homepage that you get from the comments. All right. Now, as you make changes here, I get this question a lot. How do you save this? I don't want to have to go back to this. If you scroll to the very bottom of the page, you should see a blue Save button. And before you ask me, because I know you're thinking about it, well, Helen, autosave in these modern times is a thing. Is there an autosave? As a matter of fact, there is. If I had not clicked that save button, Canvas would have saved my changes. But I still do recommend that you use the save button. I know, still. And the reason is because every time you hit the save button, you can access previous versions of that page, which are triggered by that save action, in view page history. So let me show you an example of what I mean. When I click on View Page History, you see here's the original page, right? Here's that page after I clicked Save the last time, right? Just 2 seconds ago. But if I really want to start over, because I hit the Save button, I can restore that page at the time that I hit the Save button. And that's great for times when I think I've gone too far and I want to start over. So I could click Restore this revision and bring back the original page. So that's why I always recommend you should still hit the Save button, because every time you do, you get an additional save point. All right. So that's a basic adding text and formatting options. I'm sure you don't want to just put basic text in your home page though. So let's take a look at some other things you can do to jazz up your home page a little bit. Not that it isn't already great, but still. For example, let me make a little space here on my home page. Maybe I'll create a third section here, and I'll call this textbook. Like here's the link to the textbook. So let me take this as an opportunity to show you how to add links from a page going to an external website, because in this fictional course, our textbook is a website that is outside of Canvas. So the first thing you'd have to do is to find that website, right? And I've just pulled up this OpenStax textbook for my demo here today. You'd want to locate that website that you want to link to, whatever it is. And then we're going to grab that link. So I will do Command or Control C to copy. And then back in the home page, keep that link copied while I figure out the text I want students to click on. So I'm going to put here Calculus OpenStax Volume 1, because that's the title of the textbook. And then I want to insert a link so that the student clicks on the link and that textbook opens in a new tab. So with that text all highlighted here, I'm going to select here on the chain link. There's a chain link picture right here. That is the easiest way to add your links. You're going to choose external link because it's outside Canvas. And then we're going to Control or Command V that website link that we just copied earlier. And now you click on Done. So now what I have here is a link that when clicked goes to that website, and you can check it. Click on that link, or rather, if clicking on that link doesn't work, let's save this. Now on that saved page here, you can click the link yourself and just check to make sure that it goes to that correct website. Now you can do that inside of your instructor view of the home page here. Alternatively, you can also view this page as a student. In the top right-hand corner of all pages in Canvas, you have an opportunity to see your page through the student's eyes. And here's where you can click on that link. And again, just check for yourself that it does go to the website you intend. Then to leave student view, click on that leave button, and that brings you back to your side of the page. All right, let me pause here and see if there's any unanswered questions that I could perhaps answer.
Helen, I can always go back to my email and check, but what is the recommended pixel size for the banners and everything that we have on the home pages? Do you
So
know?
let me look it up. I have it on a document saved somewhere.
Yeah, I've got it in my email, but somebody asked a question earlier and I was like, I'll talk to you about it after the meeting, but just seeing if you knew.
It is a very specific
Yeah.
banner. Um, That being said, if you're designing your own banner, some graphic design programs, like Canva is one of them. They actually have a template. I think it's literally called Canvas Banner. Okay, so I'm seeing here 1200 by 300. Let me check. Yeah,
Yeah, I
12,
think that sounds about right.
yeah, 1200 by 300, 1200 wide. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm. All right. Moving on from links, I know there's been some questions about images, so let's talk about images now. Let's use as my use case here. Maybe I want my picture to be on the home page, right? I want students to know who Helen Wilson is. So what I'll do is I'll make a little space here under instructor information for my picture. And from here, I'll select right here in this dropdown a little images picture. Since my image is on my desktop, I'll go ahead and choose upload image. And when you do, you get a spaceship picture. So from here, you can click the spaceship and select from your hard drive your face. And so there's my face right there. Now, if you don't prefer this method, you could alternatively drag and drop it. So if I reduce my browser window here, I'll just show you. See, there's my face peeking out there, but behind the web browser. I could just drag and drop it like that. So you can just search or you can just drag and drop. Now, for accessibility, I would recommend that you also include alt text for your students using screen readers. And then I'll choose submit, and that will save that image to your file space and make it visible on your homepage. Now, as you can see, it's coming in enormous. You don't have to live that way. There is an image options menu where you can modify the size of the image. So you can test out, say, small and see if that size works for you, which I think it does for me. Or you can hold down on, if you see these little blue squares right here, you can customize the size of the image that way. And then as before, you want to make sure to hit save. Okay, so I have a home page that's looking a little bit more like me every single time I make a change, which I kind of like here. All right, so let's look at maybe a couple of other options so I can show you the basics of the home page, and then I'll talk a little bit more about pages, period. So I have here a description, instructor information, right? You now know how to create additional sections for your course if you want. Here's another possibility for your homepage, perhaps. What if you wanted to create a video? And you could use the Canvas Media Recorder, which lives right here, to create a super short video to have playable on your homepage for students as a nice welcome to the course kind of thing. So go ahead and make a little space for that here. Right here in the dropdown, you have a way to upload record media, meaning you could upload a video you already have, or you can record a brand new one right now. You get a similar spaceship. So if you have a video ready to go, you can drag and drop it here and it will become part of your files. Or I did change my hair. There we go. You check how your face looks, and you can start to record right here. Hi there, everyone. Welcome to Calculus 101. And as with all videos, you want to make sure that it's very short. You also want to make sure that you can include, and hopefully you have planned this video out in advance, right? A link to a transcript so that students can access the transcript. Now, there are other options for video, obviously. The Canvas video recorder is one, but we will soon have another training session on an enhanced tool called Canvas Studio, which offers auto captioning, something that this video recorder at the moment does not. And you could also use, for other use cases, videos from YouTube. You have a little YouTube symbol here. More on that in a little bit. So that's how you could get at least one kind of video, short video, inside of your page. Now, now that we have a home page, we'll pretend that this is the home page that we want to have. We want to make sure that this home page is actually on the home page. So let's click on the home link right there, and you should expect to see your home page visible here. So this is closer to what your students would actually view. And you want to make sure to click on View as Student here to double check and make sure that this is what you want students to see. All right. So from the homepage here, I want to explore a couple of other use cases for home pages. One happens to be the syllabus area. So as you can see here, you have a syllabus link. Right now, the syllabus looks like it's not visible to students. That's because I don't have anything in the syllabus area right now. But I want to use the syllabus as an opportunity to show you how to add documents. So I've clicked on that syllabus link here. I see some filler content, which we're going to remove here momentarily, and a course summary area. But before we put content in the syllabus area, let's just make sure that the syllabus area is actually going to be visible. So when you click on course settings right here, you can modify what options are open to students, and right now syllabus is not. So let's double check, go to navigation here. And here's where you can make sure that the syllabus area will be visible. So you just drag the syllabus area up to the top and then save it. So that will ensure that your hard work on the syllabus will be seen by students once it's filled up. So now that it's visible, we're going to get back into our rich content editor and get rid of this filler stuff. So let's click on edit here. And just so you know, wherever you see edit is an opportunity for you to get back into the rich content editor, which is what this is. So under where it says syllabus information, we're always going to get rid of the instructor note, as well as learn more, because otherwise it would be visible to students and it wouldn't make sense to them. And here is where you can, if you wish, you can type in your content. In fact, that is the most accessible way. But as another option here, you could embed a document. And by a document, I want to manage expectations. I do mean here a PDF. I mean a Word document, something that is static, but that is living on your hard drive at the moment. I don't mean a living Microsoft item that you edit and you expect to, have the edits save. It's not that kind of document. This is something that is already saved to your computer. So from here, you can click on Upload Document. And then in the spaceship, you can find your syllabus. Here's my syllabus here. So once you see this symbol, you would click on Submit. Now, I think what most people expect to see is the full PDF just popping open on the page. Unfortunately, that is not default in Canvas. However, I will show you how to make that happen. First, let me show you what students do see if you just walked away. A student, as a matter of fact, would see the link with a way to download. And when they click on the link, they can see the document. And they could also download it from here once the syllabus is visible. The disadvantage of doing this, however, is that you get this overlay which sits on top of Canvas. Students are not always cognizant of the fact that they can just click on this close icon to come back to Canvas. And we'd rather keep students in Canvas and not get lost. So let's explore other options to make the syllabus pop open. So when you go to the edit area and click on that link, so you had to have made the link first, you get this menu called Link Options. And when you click on Link Options, you see a Display Options menu. Right now it says Overlay. But if you'd like for students to see the PDF pop open while staying in Canvas, I would recommend you check off Expand Preview by default and Preview Inline. So let's have this third circle, right? And then this other checkbox also checked. So with this in action, once I click on Update Syllabus, now you have a PDF that pops open for the student. And it can be zoomed in and out. They can go to different pages. They can do all the things, but they don't have to do anything special to get the document to appear. And they can still download it here. One other thing I want to add in regards to the syllabus, because we're talking about pages and a syllabus is a type of page. The syllabus does have one feature that other pages do not. And it's this Show Course Summary, which is already checked off. I would frankly recommend that you uncheck it. Let me show you why. Because with this popped open syllabus, when the student scrolls, and you know they will, they'll see a course summary, which is supposed to list all of the upcoming assignments. The issue, though, is if you haven't done these yet, these will lead to areas of the course that are not ready for students to view. I frankly think it's very confusing just to leave this here for you as well as for students. So to keep this simple, which is always a good thing, when you click back on Edit, just uncheck Show Course Summary, which now means you just have the syllabus and nothing else. Don't have to worry about the course summary, nor is it mandatory to have a functional course. So that's the syllabus, which is a special kind of page in your course. Now we've seen your home page, right, which we just worked on. We saw your syllabus, which is a special kind of page. All the pages in your course are located in this Pages link, which is an index of all the pages you have going. If you don't see it yet, you can click on View All Pages, which lets you see all of the pages that you have access to in your course. And right here is that home page. So when I click on that home page, I can go straight to that page. Now, another place for you to build out your content in Canvas is modules. And I point that out because modules is most likely where your lesson content is going to be, right? Your unit content, your week by week content, your projects, your assignments. And so I want to take this as an opportunity to show you, you can also access pages from here. So let's pretend in my calculus class, I want to start building the first academic page, right? The content for the first couple of lectures. And so I'm going to go ahead and access this module 1 page. right? Notice you have some content we'll have to delete with places for you to add, say, presentations, as well as to add in, text-based comments and content under the main point headings. So I'll use this as my springboard to talk about the other functions of the rich content editor. So to access, we always click on edit here. And then here is where I'll put my title for my first academic page. Okay, so as always, you want to delete anything that looks like fake Latin or students won't understand what this is. And then you can type in your content, same as always. All of which you know already. But I do observe here on this lesson page, I have here a place for a video or a presentation. You can absolutely make use of Panopto, as I saw someone ask about in the chat. You can make use of the Canvas video recorder here. But let's take this as an opportunity to explore this area right here. And I know we all have eyes and we're staring at this YouTube symbol right here. Let me show you, you can link to YouTube videos and put them here in your page so students can just click on the video and play it here. So first off, I'm going to go ahead and clean up this video introduction. And I will fill in this, the text that serves as the context for the video here. If you see an image like this, you can delete it because it's a filler image. I just know that I'm going to have my video playable right here. So let's take a look at YouTube. Now just be aware, right? Because you do have an additional add-on tool called Studio. If you add a YouTube video in this way, it's quick and easy, no doubt. I cannot guarantee though that you will avoid ads. Ads may very well play to students here. Still, if it's 5 minutes before a class and you have no option, this is a quick and easy way to get a video into your page. So I'd accept those terms and conditions here. And then you can search for the video of your choice. I can just go ahead and search for Introduction to Calculus and then hit enter. Oh, and I'm seeing quite a lot of interesting videos here. Let's go ahead and choose this just for today. You would go ahead and find the video that you want to add into Canvas. And then click on the drop down to see just how big of a window you want, small, medium, or large. So I'll go ahead and show you medium, just so you can see what that window looks like to you. And once saved, and I won't play the whole thing just to show you, they can just click on it.
Being a nurse means,
and the video can be played directly from this page right here. Now, I know there was a question about Panopto. If you're wanting to see where those additional LTIs are, as we call them, you can access them right here. You find the plug icon, and if you choose View All, here's where you can find all the additional LTIs, as we call them, these tools. So here's Wiley, there's Google, there's Panopto, if you're looking for it. So if you are interested in that, you'd have to click on that link and then it connects to your account and then you can choose the item you want to add to your page from there. All right. So that's how to, another way rather, to add a video. Now here's another use case for this area. Let's say you want to add some interesting embeddable content. There's a lot of educational resources out there that maybe you want to have it be part of Canvas, but you want it to be in Canvas. You don't want to give a link to students and then students fall down rabbit holes. So what if I wanted to add, say, a simulation that students could manipulate inside the page because it's part of the learning for that week or that unit? So let me show you how to add embeddable content. And here's an example of embeddable content. I admit it's a math and science based resource, but such resources do not have to be for math and science. There's plenty of other resources you can add that are more pertainable to your content area. So in the context of math, it's been a while since I did calculus, I'm sorry. But I'll go ahead and pick something calculus-ish. Just pick this one to keep it short. This is what I mean by an embeddable interactive activity. It's something that a student can manipulate, right? There are kind of dials here that they can use. So perhaps you can give them some instructions and then they can manipulate the simulation. So that's one possibility for a resource you might want to have as part of your Canvas. Or maybe you just want to add something inside of a page in Canvas. Maybe you want to move beyond the link thing, and maybe you want this to be actually part of the Canvas page. So let me show you how to get what we call an iframe. Inside of a resource like PHET, you want to look for a symbol like this. I don't know what the name of this symbol is. Left arrow / right arrow. But when you click on it, and it's usually the same symbol across a lot of different websites, you can get the code to link to this website. So what you would do is copy this to your clipboard, and they will always give you that option. Go back to the page here. And then in the 3 dots, there's always a menu for 3 dots in Canvas. You want to pick this cloud symbol. And here's where you can paste that code. So what you've done is you've made a connection between the resource and your Canvas. And you don't have to put a link or anything. It's right there. So as a student, I can click on these and follow whatever directions you want me to follow to learn my content. And as for websites that you want to add inside of your course, like maybe you just want this website to be visible in the page, you may have to obtain what's called an iframe. So I'll put this here in the chat. This is an iframe generator. So I want to make it so that this textbook is visible on the page, so they don't even have to click a link. It's right there. What I'll do is I will open up that iframe generator, and I'm going to get the website for this other page. Go back to the iframe generator and then paste it here. So then when I click on generate, I get some code, the code that's in the window. So now that I have the code, I can just copy it and then go back to my page here. I'll just delete that. And then in the space where I want the website to appear, again, I'll go to the 3 dots and then I will choose the cloud. So when I save this, it's that same page. Now it's in a smaller window, I grant you that, but it is that website. And so they don't actually have to click a link and get distracted while they're outside of Canvas. The website's right here. Now that's an option if you wish to get fancy with things like that. Otherwise, if you want to keep it simple, just use a link. So let me pause here and see if there's any questions that I should emphasize. All right. Moving on here, let's take a look at additional options to add interest to your page. So I'm going to go and move into the main point heading here, and I'm not going to add a lot, but just to show you folks that are interested. Besides adding text, which you're free to do, links, images, and such, you can add tables. So as you've seen here, there is a 3 dots menu that opens up new options in the second row. Here's where you can add tables, which are great ways for you to organize content. So I would just click on that little table icon right here, and then you can type in your content, right? The numbers, the terms, the vocabulary, whatever it is that you want to enter in each cell of the table. So again, great way to organize that content. You'll also notice here that as you add content, whether that's tables or just regular text, that this little section of the rich content editor might light up with a number. This is our accessibility checker. It's a built-in tool inside of Canvas, and it's letting me know there are 2 accessibility errors associated with the table, because that just popped up when the table popped up. And whenever this accessibility checker pops up, it's a good idea to stop right there and try to fix the issues that were perceived. So it's telling me tables should have a caption that's a title for the table. So I'll go ahead and call this core calculus variables review. So you see it's filling it in as I type. And then when I hit apply, it saves it. And then in the next error here, it's telling me I need to have a header for the table, which is going to be, I'm going to have titles for each of these columns here. So I'm going to have a header row because that's where all of my titles will be. They'll be in the same row. The goal is to go through the checker until you have all of these balloons popping up to let you know that you have already fixed those accessibility issues. So that's how you can add tables. That function lives right here. And for anybody out there that needs to use specialized symbols, you have right here a square root X symbol. This is how you can get a hold of maybe ways to set up fractional expressions. You can do subscript, superscript, roots. A lot of these are obviously very math oriented. There are Greek symbols here. Operators, relationships, this is mostly math now. Different kinds of arrows. This is also advanced math symbols. But under miscellaneous, you might find some symbols that you might enjoy, like our music friends, right? You have flats, natural sharps. You have card symbols. So if you want to add, say, the infinity symbol to your text, just click on the symbol. That's it. And then that saves it to be part of your Canvas page. You can even combine symbols. So let's do a fraction. So this is n over m. You can enter in your number here. So I'll just put a 2 on the top and then a 3 on the bottom. And then you can go back into that square root of x symbol and do some other symbols. So if needed, you can make use of some kind of more hidden features of the rich content editor to add tables, special symbols, add HTML and embeds, but always make sure to save. All right. I know this is not much of a page, but we'll have to pretend, and we'll pretend that this is ready to go. You want to make sure that the page is published so that students can view the content. And once your initial module has been set up, because you would have to go through each item in the module to add your content in the edit area, to add in your discussion directions, your assignment directions, your quiz questions, to enter in wrap-up information about the unit. You see, all of that is accessible underneath the edit pencil right there. And as you do that, always make sure to select View as Student so that you can see what students see. So for my Introduction to Functions page that we just built out here, check that out in View as Student. I think it's also a good idea to check it out in the Immersive Reader too. Now, I get this question a lot, friends, and I don't blame you if you have this question in your mind. Well, I can enter text. Like I know how to do that. That's fine. I can do that. But what's the advantage of using the rich content editor to add content versus embedding a lot of documents into my course? Because those documents are already made. Why should I copy paste content? It's a good question. And the immersive reader is partly the answer. You see, the immersive reader allows for any student, whether they have documented needs or not, to make use of features inside the immersive reader to make their experience a little easier. The trick here is that anything you enter in the rich content editor is accessible. Remember I had that embedded website here, right? But here you don't see anything. The immersive reader cannot access embedded PDFs as well as embedded HTML elements. It can only read what's accessible inside the page. And it does offer some great options here. So for example, it can be read to the students.
Module 1, Introduction to Functions. Introduction. In this module,
which is not available if you just solely rely on embedded documents to get your content to students. There's also here in text preferences ways for students to manage their text size, change the spacing, change the font, even change the theme. A lot of people like a dark theme to access things. It makes their eyes feel a little more comfortable. And under the reading preferences, if that's needed for any of your students, they can even get a translation of the page. Right? It even kind of prints it out and it can even be read in that language, again, if that student wants it. So the immersive reader is possible because you enter that content in the rich content editor. So if you're looking for a recommendation, right, I want you to think about your time, because that's a factor. Think about your energy. If you have the time, definitely enter in your content through the rich content editor, through text. That is the most accessible way. If, on the other hand, it's 2 minutes before class, and you got to get going. Like these students are like banging on the door wanting to learn about calculus. I would just embed your PDF, because you have to get through the day. But at some point in the future, I would encourage you to start to move towards entering text into the rich content editor, because ultimately in the long term, that is the most accessible option. All right, so I hope the last hour gave you a sense as to what you can do with all of your pages. Again, think about using those pages to maybe create organizational pages like this, lesson pages, right? Content pages. And then finally, it's the way that you create your homepage. If you ever want to see all of your pages in the course, make sure to check out that pages index here. Go to view all pages. And all the pages in the course are listed here in this index. And that is Pages in the Rich Content Editor. Can I answer any other questions for you? We've got a little bit of time.
You've stunned us all with your fabulousness as gives.
I hope that's what it is and not it's Monday. It's Monday. You're making me learn Canvas on Monday. Is there anything here I've missed that I need to emphasize or reemphasize?
Not looking like it from what I can see. I know that people usually kind of have questions afterwards, and so happy to, feel free to unmute yourself and turn on your camera if you'd like and ask questions. We do have more training coming up with Helen. Next week, we're going to be talking about assignments and discussions. Helen's also obviously been hosting some question and answer sessions, and I'm putting a link in the chat to the upcoming trainings available through the CTM website. Make sure that you check those out. The recordings will be available through that website as well. So you can kind of see what's happened, but also what's coming up. Hopefully everybody's kind of getting ready, jumping back into things as the spring semester hopefully now officially gets like into a groove, not just the crazy weather and all that good stuff. So any last questions before we let Helen go? Related to pages or not related to pages? Any other Canvas questions that you might have? Now's your time.
Helen, actually, so Diana Rust asked something earlier about changing the image in the template, but I also would like to show them how they can change the image on the card for their course.
Oh, let's do the course card first. Great question. So when you go to course settings in your course, the very first item you can modify says image with the learn image here, right? Right here in the three dots, remember 3 dots always means menu, always. Here you can choose a different image. So I just clicked on that choose image, and then from upload image, you can find a picture to switch out. So I'd say best practice here is to pick an image that speaks to your course. So make it math or science or anthropology or geography or philosophy related. And then that way students cue themselves, right? The picture of the DNA is the biology class, for example. So that's how you set up the course image.
And
Just
could
Yeah,
you
I just
remind us again of the resolution? Sorry, the dimensions of that?
for some reason, I want to say 162 by 246, but that came out really quickly.
so something else I want to point out, guys, is that there is not a repository of images like there is in D12. These have to be something that you add.
Oh, I was really close. 146 by 262. Here's the community help file about course cards. And then switching out the course banner. So I assume this is a banner like you might have created yourself, or is it a different MTSU banner? Just one you made yourself?
Yeah, let's just stick with that.
Okay. So first thing you have to do is to remove this image from the page, which doesn't delete the image. We're just sweeping it off the page. So you click on the image and then hit backspace or delete. And then we're going to select right here this little image icon, choose upload image, and then you need to find the image from your computer. Don't really have good ones, but they should serve. Here. Nope. I'll pick the same image. It's not properly sized, but this is the correct workflow for how to get your banner into the course. You just want to make sure to add the appropriate alt text as you do so. But that's the workflow anyway. All right, friends, anything else?
Just one other thing, when you upload that picture, it goes into your files area.
Yep.
And I know with our templates that we've got in the Commons area, you may see some other banner images in the files area. And that's where all those things are. So you may have some other options available.
So if they're looking for additional banners, where they go to template images, perhaps? Right here. So let's do
We've
that.
tried to organize.
Yeah. Well, let's finish off with this then, because I know your banners are amazing. Let's pick banner 4. You want to make sure that that's what you want. Okay, so it's banner 4 PNG. I'm going to remember that. So I'm going to go back to the home page because that's where the banner is going to be. See, autosave. I'm going to remove that first banner image. Now, when I pick the option to choose under this images dropdown, pick course images because all the banners are already in the course. It's not something you upload from your hard drive. So I would click on course files from here, and then you could do a search for banner. And first of all, they are beautiful. They're already properly sized and branded, and they still make you look awesome. You just want to make sure to check for accessibility here. And then save. Perfect.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me back. I'll see you all next week, I want to say. Yeah.
All right, Helen, thank you very much. And as always, guys, you always have, us to reach out to if you need help with anything. So feel free. We're here to help.
Thanks, everybody. Y'all have a wonderful day. Take care.